Hi everyone, I'm Nat, and this video is a post-mortem analysis of my final project for the Simon Fraser University Technical Communication Certificate. First off, I'd like to thank Adriana Harper, the course tutor, who was extremely helpful and gave me lots of insightful feedback and just general encouragement. Also, my fellow student Lindsay, who did a really good job of peer reviewing my project. Thanks. This thing went off the rails, and both of you were super helpful in showing me where some of the big problems were and encouraging me to finish when I was feeling like throwing in the towel. So, what happened? I started off with the idea of creating something that I called the Flare Docs reference to document how I was using Madcap Flare at work, but that was looking too big and complicated to fit into a 2-month project. Then I was talking with my friend Jen about her project to build the first fully accessible public bathroom in New Zealand, something called Changing Places, and I ended up offering to build her a full website. My idea was to do the website in Madcap Flare, but even though I've been using Flare for a few years now, I've still never used it to create HTML output. That'd be new. In the end, my proposal was to create a 20 to 25 page information guide for Changing Places. My older son's in a wheelchair, and accessibility is a big thing for me, so this whole project felt very meaningful and important. After 2 months of hard work, I've created that information guide, and I'm real proud of it. The thing is, during that time, I still ended up learning how to create HTML output in Flare anyway. And in addition to that information guide, I did create mock-ups of both the Changing Places website and this FDR thing, both using HTML targets in Flare. The whole scene kind of got out of hand. Okay, so something which was new for me in this project, and it was really helpful, is this is the first time I ever created and used a full documentation project plan to create a piece of technical writing. This was great. Those 2 weeks at the start were time very well spent. Working on the plan helped me identify the project scope was going to be a biggie. But my initial project plan didn't include a section on project constraints, risks, and dependencies, so Adriana, you were right to pull me up on that. There was way too much risk from outside pressures on this project. It helped me to think this thing through and put some contingency plans in place before I got in too deep. My client and subject matter expert, Jen, right? Her biggest concern was the website. This fully accessible toilet build project was already underway, and she wanted to have a website in place for a big public announcement on World Toilet Day, which was going to happen midway through the project schedule. Working through my plan helped me realize that my best chance to succeed would be to do most of my work in Microsoft Word, have the information guide as the main event, then use an off-the-shelf Flare template to build a placeholder website in time for that media release. After the Word project was done, I'd worry later about shifting content into Flare and use some fabulous single sorcery to link the website and PDF guide into the same content. What I wasn't counting on was that I had to put a bunch of thought into the information architecture for the website, and my placeholder content for the website still needed to go through some sort of review and approval process by my client before it went live to the whole world. So that little sideshow became a very big deal and ate up about 2 weeks of time, which I couldn't afford. So right about the time when my plan said I was supposed to have a draft of my information guide about 80% complete to send out for peer review, it was really only maybe about 30 to 40% there, and it was a mess, and I was about a week behind before I was able to share it with them. I was embarrassed to share my draft around, to be honest, and so this was my other big lesson. Lindsay and Adriana were able to identify some big gaping issues which were getting in the way in my writing. This forced me to reconsider my audience analysis and put through some big structural changes. I'd been stuck in a rut struggling to find my own voice and see what needed to be fixed. Maybe I was too close to the material, and so was my subject matter expert too. Bringing in peer reviewers who were totally fresh to the topic helped enormously, because they were able to ask the really basic questions like, why on earth are you doing it this way, or what's that supposed to mean? That was the kick I needed, and it really helped save the day. I revisited my analysis of the rhetorical situation, and that helped me find my groove. Like, check this out. Both Lindsay and Adriana were confused as to whether Changing Places referred to the organization or to the bathrooms that we were building. I was interchangeably using it to refer to both, and I didn't think that was a problem, but they showed me how confusing that was. So I put in a new section called About Changing Places, which addressed exactly that confusion, and I think it added a lot of value to the guide. Other things that were a first for me. I tried to fill out timesheets to get some real data on how long it takes me to write. I've never done this before. I downloaded a couple of timesheet apps onto my phone, but they were just annoying. What worked out best was to just take notes in my notebook and periodically shift this into a spreadsheet. This exercise confirmed for me that project management took up about 16% of total project time. My guess was that it was going to take about 20%. This was all the time spent contacting my client and reviewers, or just taking stock of where I'm at and planning the next step. I'd hoped to do some kind of burndown chart to track my progress during this, but it was difficult because my structure kept changing. Towards the end, I was able to use my table of contents as a sort of burndown chart, keeping track of which topics were in notes form, rough draft, complete draft, or all done. I discovered it's a pointless exercise to try and account for pre-writing time, all that time spent mulling over a topic or having ideas float around in the back of my head. It's no use trying to track that in a timesheet. But I can definitely say it's valuable and I need to schedule time for it. A habit I ended up with was, if I got stuck writing some topic, I'd just try to put it aside and move on to the next one. And then whenever I was finished writing a topic, say before I'd pack it in and stop for the night, I'd read through some notes and set myself up for the next topic. I made sure my subconscious was always geared up to start the next topic. That's the only way I managed to motor through the last few weeks of the project and somehow catch up with the project plan. I didn't have as much time as I'd like towards the end of the project to spend more time on editing. I know I've got some blind spots with my writing and some writing quirks, and so I want to put some time into writing some personalized editing checklists for myself based on those issues. I still need to do another round of review with Jen before this guide goes public and before I start wrestling all that content into Flare to fill up the website. But here, take a look at this thing. It's done, and I feel really proud of it. So my big lessons are, first of all, documentation project planning really works. Also, analyzing the rhetorical situation really works. In particular, I need to focus on the user more, the user perspective and user needs. Communication is hugely important. When things get rough, my instinct is to hide in the corner and go turtle. But what I really need to do is talk it out, get help, and share my messy drafts with people, even if I think it's garbage. I still need to work on separating out the phases of pre-writing, writing, formatting, and editing, rather than trying to do it all at once. And also I need to create some better editing checklists for myself. Thanks everyone. I've learned a huge amount over the last 2.5 years of this technical communication certificate. A special shout out to Jonathan and Dina, fellow members of the Fifth Dimension work group back in TCOM 110 when we started the certificate program. They've been partners in crime through this whole thing. All the best, everybody. Check out my blog at drnatjg.wordpress.com. Cheers, thanks for watching.